Selby here. Today I'm going to demonstrate a series of hip stretches. Remember, with respect to stretching, you want to ease into the stretch almost like you're ramping into the stretch. Hold a good long period of time, about 20 to 30 seconds, and make sure you maintain good consistent breaths during that time. So nice, even, deep breathing. At the end of the stretch, make sure to ramp out of the stretch. Okay, so the first stretch is going to be for the front of the hip. The muscle that bends the hip into this motion, the hip flexor, attaches to your spine, so it's very important that you keep your shoulders over your hips when you do this. So I'm going to stretch out the right side. So I'm going to have my right knee on the ground, and I want to make sure that I'm not too close to my knee with my other foot. I want to give myself some width in between my two contacts. Now I'm going to make sure my foot is far enough out from the body so that as I start to shift my body weight forward, my support knee is right over my ankle. You can see that my shoulders are right over my hips. I have a nice upright body posture, and I'm clearly getting a good stretch in that right hip region. Now, the more I try to force the hip forward, the deeper the stretch is going to be. If I try to turn my pelvis, I'm also going to deepen the stretch out in that region. A common mistake is people who stretch like this. This is taking the stretch out of the stretch and totally defeating the purpose. So make sure your shoulders stay right over your hips. Excellent stretch for the hip flexor. Good stretch for both hips. For the muscles that rotate the hips, often called a butterfly stretch. Bring your ankles together, bring your feet together, contact at the ankles, and I'm using my elbows to push my knees to the ground. You can lean forward with this stretch at the same time to deepen it. And I'm going to get a stretch you might feel is deep into the buttock region as well as into that hip region on both sides. Excellent way to stretch out both hips. To get deeper into the buttock region where the hip is, I'm going to do a figure 4 stretch. So I'm going to lay on my back, and I'm going to put my ankle on my opposite knee. Now, for some people alone, this position will result in a stretching sensation. I do not get any stretch out of this. Even if I push away on the knee, I don't feel much of a stretch in this position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my other leg, bringing my ankle closer to the body. I'm going to use my arm to help pull that ankle closer to my chest, and I'm going to then counter that, pushing the knee away. So what I'm trying to do is really force the knee away as I bring the ankle towards. Now I'm getting a very deep stretch into the hip as well as the buttock region. So that figure 4 position, very, very effective way in which to stretch out the hip. However, sometimes it's not feasible to get down on the ground. So I can also do this in a seated position where I cross my ankle onto the knee. Now, instead of bringing the ankle to the chest, I'm going to bring the chest to the knee. So I'm still going to apply that counter pressure out with my hand, but now I'm going to lean forward. This is a very effective way to get the same degree of stretch, just instead of laying down, now you're sitting. You can also do this stretch standing. This is particularly effective if you're, say, for example, at a sporting event where there's tiered seating, because you can find the right height for your ankle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place my ankle on whatever height is acceptable, and I'm going to push the knee down. Now in this case, this is a little bit low for me, so again, I'm going to bring my body to my ankle, chest to my ankle. So I'm going to lean forward as I apply that good counter pressure outwards. Very effective way to hit the same stretch, but in a standing position. Now, a lot of people, especially when they're playing sports like hockey or soccer or baseball, incur groin injuries. Groin strains, very uncomfortable at the best of times, and it's a hard muscle group in which to actually hit with stretching. So this is a very effective way in which to stretch the groin muscles. Now, I don't know if there's a particular name that's utilized for this stretch. It's often seen in a hockey setting, so a hockey groin stretch. What you want to do is give yourself as much distance apart between your knees as you can comfortably tolerate. And I'm going to rest my feet so that my ankles, the inner aspect of my ankles, are resting against the ground. If you find that's uncomfortable for your knees, you can turn your feet so that you're more toes down. If it does not bother your knees, turn your feet so that your inner aspect of your ankle is on the ground. Now I'm going to come down onto my elbows here. I'm going to spread my knees out a little bit more, and then I'm trying to sit back with my pelvis, trying to force it to the ground and sit back. And this is a very, very deep stretch, high up into the groin region. The more I try to sit back on this stretch, the deeper it becomes. Now, as with all stretches, you want to make sure that you're not going too far into it so that you're actually incurring pain. A degree of stretching discomfort is what you want to feel, not pain. If you do have any questions, leave a comment below and I will respond. And if you have any suggestions about future exercise videos or stretching videos, let me know.